All right, let's talk about something you've probably seen a million times, but maybe never really thought about: ISO 9001. You see it on websites, on packaging, but what does it actually mean? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify this whole thing. Let's get into it. You ever wonder about that? How you can buy from one company and the experience is perfect every single time, but with another, it's a total roll of the dice? Well, that difference, it's usually not an accident. It often comes down to a deliberate, systematic approach to quality. And that really gets to the heart of a challenge that pretty much every business on the planet faces. We can call it the quality conundrum. Look, nobody's perfect. Whether you're a tiny startup or a massive corporation, these growing pains are real. A missed deadline, a product that doesn't work right, an angry customer, it all adds up, you know? It chips away a reputation, and it definitely hits the bottom line. This is the exact problem a brewed quality system is built to solve. So how do you get from leaving things to chance to being consistently great? Well, you need a plan. You need a framework. And that is exactly what ISO 9001 is. It's a blueprint for excellence. At the core of ISO 9001 is this idea of a quality management system, or QMS for short. The best way to think about it is like the company's operational DNA. It's the whole collection of policies and procedures, the rule book that says, this is how we do things around here, to make sure everyone is aiming for the same target, delivering amazing quality. And we're not talking about some niche boutique standard here. There are over 1 million organizations in more than 170 countries that are certified. From the company that builds airplanes to your local machine shop, it's pretty much the global gold standard for saying, we take quality seriously. And this thing isn't stuck in the past either. It's a living document that evolves. It first came out way back in 1987. Then in 2000, it had a huge update to become process-based. And the 2015 version? That introduced a real game changer, something called risk-based thinking. It's always adapting, with the next update expected around 2026. Okay, so what's the secret sauce? What are the big ideas that make this standard so effective? Let's break down how it actually works. The big philosophy behind the latest version is a huge mental shift. Instead of waiting for something to break and then scrambling to fix it, being reactive, ISO 9001 pushes you to be proactive. It's all about looking ahead, figuring out what could go wrong, and then building a system to stop it from happening in the first place. And to make this risk-based thinking super clear, there's a really simple analogy: crossing the road. You do it automatically, right? First, you identify the risk, obviously the cars, then you analyze and plan. You'll look both ways, you check their speed, and finally, you act by crossing when it's safe. That's it. That's risk-based thinking. It's not about crazy math, it's about making prevention a habit. And what drives this whole proactive mindset? It's this powerful engine for getting better all the time. It's a simple 4-step loop that's at the very heart of the standard. It all starts with the plan. This is where you set your goals. You ask the big questions. What are we trying to do here? What processes do we need? Who's doing what? And from there, you do. This part is all about action. You implement the plan you just made, you run the processes, and you start collecting data to see how it's all going. Next up is the check stage. This is the moment of truth. You monitor and measure your results against the goals you set back in the planning stage. Are we actually hitting our targets? You have to be honest here. And finally, based on what you found, you act. You take real steps to make things better. And this is the magic part. What you learn here feeds right back into a smarter, better plan for the next time around. It's a constant cycle of improvement. Now, this is absolutely crucial. This isn't some task you can just hand off to the quality department and forget about. The 2015 standard makes it crystal clear. Top management has to be actively involved. They have to show leadership and take personal accountability for how well the whole system is working. So, let's say you're on board with all of this. What does it actually take to get that certificate on the wall? Let's quickly map out that journey. It might look like a lot, but it's a pretty logical process. It all kicks off with good preparation and planning. Then you get into documenting your processes and actually implementing the system. You even get to do a practice run with an internal audit before you call in the official auditors for the final certification. And really, that first step is everything. Just like building a house, you need a solid blueprint before you start. You have to define your goals, get the bosses on board, and figure out who's in charge of what, long before you write a single page of documentation.
All right, so you've done all the work. You've gone through the whole journey. What's the payoff? Let's talk about the real-world benefits and what's next for the world of quality.
The benefits are seriously huge. That certification gives you instant credibility. Your customers are happier because they get what they expect, consistently. Internally, things just run smoother, which saves money. You start making decisions based on data, not just gut feelings. But the biggest win? You build a culture where everyone is always looking for ways to improve.
And this standard is not standing still. The future of quality is already taking shape. The next version will probably dig deeper into things like digital transformation, AI and the Internet of Things. And we'll see a bigger focus on things like sustainability, supply chain resilience, and even social responsibility. It just keeps evolving. So we end right back where we started. At the end of the day, ISO 9001 is about making a choice. It's a roadmap for moving away from accidental success and toward a system where quality is intentional. It's about making sure your quality is built by design,